Oh,
He
yeah.
has to just do the stage.
Run the rope.
And I'm
he
like,
did learn how to dance a tiny bit.
yeah, which I'm just like, thank God someone's talking about me for once.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Nerd on the Podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. To endeavor to be the #1 hero, you'll have to save Lemillions and overhaul all the things that are holding you Bakugo. Today's almighty episode, we come back to discuss the shonen anime that just cannot be eraser-headed from our Sir Night Ice. Today's Shoto Todoroki is My Hero Academia Season 4!
You love that, Josh? You love that? Because it was for Corey.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
really
really
do.
good.
I love it.
So,
I love it.
yeah, it was great. Anyway, we're talking about My Hero Academia Season 4 today.
All right, on time.
And your hosts for today are me. I'm Caitlin.
Oh, I'm Tom.
And I'm Josh. And this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation. That is powered by Patreon. As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks. Like, you get bonus episodes that nobody else hears.
What kind of episodes?
Well, you get like the extra in which we talk about things like last month we talked about things that we missed, like movies or TV shows, stuff like that. Or the minute, like we talked about our favorite childhood toy, that kind of stuff. You also get early access to these episodes. Yeah, you get early access to all of our episodes. So pretty dope, pretty dope. You also get access to secret servers on our Discord server. Secret channels on our Discord server. Yeah, so check it out. nerdon.tv/Patreon. And fun stuff. This episode is brought to you in part by the Nerd On Nation. God bless it.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place today.
But this podcast is sponsored by Podbean.
Yeah, here we go. Podbean is the easiest way to create your own podcast. We use Podbean to host Nerd On the Podcast, the Nerd On Update, and our sister show, The Capeless Crusaders. Download the free Podbean podcast app to start, record, and publish your very own podcast in minutes. Podbean provides everything you need to run your podcast, and you can record and publish episodes directly from the app on your phone. It's pretty dope. It's pretty awesome. Download the free Podbean app today. That is Podbean. Check it out.
Do it.
What else, Tom?
If you want.
Dum da da dum da da dum. Ha ha ha! Never fear. Ball Might is here because today's episode is also brought to you in support for Nerd on the Podcast by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped has just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, 4.0! Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you! 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code NERDON, N-E-R-D-O-N, at manscaped.com.
His quirk. Close shave.
No nicks on my balls. That was it. That was great.
That might be actually a legitimate quirk.
Oh my God.
Right?
I like challenged him to bring up something punny, and wow.
He did.
He delivered.
He did the thing.
I understood the assignment.
Tom is here.
Never fear. Ball Might. That's going to be my
Ball Might. Oh boy. Anyway.
And a honorable mention to Odyssey and Body Audio and Apogee. And if you like what you hear today, last piece of housekeeping. If you like what you hear today, stop by, rate and review, share us with your friends and family. That is how we grow. It is. But let us get on with this plus ultra of an episode.
No, we're going to go beyond plus ultra.
Yeah, Josh, God.
Actually,
In Dragon Ball Z, it's year 780.
Anyway.
No. So the interesting thing about this show and this episode particularly is that we're not going to do like our normal thing when we cover topical shows or topical movies because the series is not yet done.
Not
So we
at
are going to be
all.
covering the entire season 4 of it all. So there's not going to be a guest at Grump, and there's not going to be a rating at the very end.
nope.
So we can just kind of go like all gas, no filler, and go straight to like our big things, our favorite things we like to talk about. But first, we do want to do a brief synopsis and the production of the show. But the first thing we're going to do actually is going to be our initial reactions of season 4 and our first impressions. So, Caitlin, sounds
Dang
like
it.
you're excited.
I am excited, but I was ready for Josh to talk first.
No. You go first.
I
while
figured he'd say that. So I had put off watching season 4 for a while because if I'm fully honest, I know a bunch of the voice actors that are worked on season 4. So I have a hard time separating, and I really wanted to watch the dub. And I was like, I have to wait until it's been long enough that it's not like weird. And so I watched it and I was like, this is really good. Oh, this is great. And it wasn't as weird as I had hoped. Because if you know someone's voice really well and you know how they talk normally, hearing that
It's hard
come
to
out of
unhear it.
it's very hard to unhear, like, oh, that's Kellen.
It's kind of like when I do my ball mite.
Yeah. It was really hard not to see you as All Might right there.
yeah.
It's tough.
Totally.
Justin Cook, Chris Sabat, send the check.
Oh my god. But yeah, like the villains in this were great. The way that they used the League of Villains was really great. I liked Overhaul and Shigaraki, and how they interacted and the twisty roodles that come along the way. I can't believe I said that word just now, but
Twisty Roodles.
twisty roodles.
The snack coming to you soon.
But yeah, I liked how it's gotten a lot darker and in a good way.
Oh.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for me.
Josh? Or you and me?
I'll go.
Okay.
You know me. I was all about My Hero seasons 1 through 3. And I'm all about season 4. No. Yeah, I mean, for some reason, it just kind of happened. I put off watching this for quite a bit. Just because, I mean, you got to pay for Funimation and all that kind of stuff. You
Not
gotta
if you
wait
know
for
Caitlin.
That tracks. Yeah, this season was. I've got things to say about it and whatnot, but
Oh,
this
okay.
But they're not for the initial reaction.
they are not. There was laughing, there was crying, there was like, holy shit! Whoa! I mean, there was a gamut of emotions for this season, and I'm about it. I think this was one of the stronger seasons of the show. I
I'd
dug it a
agree
lot.
with that. I would
but-
agree with that.
I got things to say. I'm excited to talk about it. So Tom, take it away.
You know what? This show is really weird because
Yeah?
we just in our initial reactions, I think it's a little bit stark contrast compared to I think most people's lasting impressions of season 4.
It's also hard to not give spoilers
Mhm.
in an initial reaction. It's like, I liked it.
I would say
I like the show.
For me, I think the first, let's call it like this. The first arc of the season is like, yo, this is getting really cool because you're seeing the young heroes grow and you see them work with other heroes. And you get introduced to some of the backstory of the heroes, of the champions that we know, and sidekicks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people have a lot of issues with let's say the middle arc. And to me, I found that actually like kind of like this nice bit of joy, because it provides certain characters with like this is what the day in the life of the hero actually is. And
Yeah.
it's not like this
Well-
ongoing story chapter.
There's like 3.5 arcs
Yes,
in
and-
this season, and the middle or the
Yeah, the
2 and 3 were like the arc 1 was hard. So here's some levity.
I mean, and so like, and then the ending arc ish I think is really cool because I think that's what got a lot of people's good faith to come back because season 1 through 3 comparatively is like such like a oh man, we're seeing Deku grow, we're seeing all these characters, we're seeing like we love all these characters, and then season 4 kind of starts with like oh my gosh, this is like this huge operation kind of thing, and it goes in and then it does more of an anime thing which happens, and again won't be spoilers yet, but I to me. I think season 4 was very necessary because I've started season 5 and I have gotten so enthralled that now I'm just watching YouTube spoilers of the manga at this point where people are just talking like, in this chapter, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, a lot of people say
So
that the season 4 was more of a transfer season in terms of getting the characters to a certain place because the show, they're basically like, oh, things are about to get real.
Yeah.
So let's just get the characters in that mental, emotional place.
Gets real spicy.
Yeah, spicy AF.
Spicy. But no, overall, I enjoyed it and I watched it 3 times. So like in preparation for that, I watched it like when it first came out. Then I watched it again. Like I was like writing. I just had it in the background. Then I was just like, I'll watch it again. And I was like, oh my God, this. I was like, I just enjoy it. And it's so easy to go through for me. Like I think. My Hero is one of the most still even season 4 is the most one of the most bingeable animes to watch. That being said, we're gonna go on to our next 2 segments, which are going to be our brief synopsis and our production of the show.
Yes, not a lot of brief synopsises.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use this as kind of like I'm going to use this as a guideline. Basically, it follows the students as they go through their work study with some pro heroes, and then there's a giant raid with some hardcore villains. The
gangsters.
The League of Villains is still there, kind of there. Not as much as like the previous seasons. And then after that, we have the provisional license remedial course because some of our young heroes did not pass their licensing exam. And then we have the student festival, which is fun. We get to meet Gentle. And then we get to catch up with Endeavor and what he's dealing with. He's got some mind things going on,
some baggage,
like some baggage
that he created.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's kind of, I mean, that's as brief. We've got some briefness.
That's some briefs.
That's some brief stuff.
No boxers here, only briefs.
Only briefs. The other brief synopses were like 3 paragraphs long. It's based off of these issues of the blah, and so
too many.
Well,
brief synopsis.
Here's going to be not a brief production.
Yeah.
So the studio is Studio Bones, who's worked or given us such things as Soul Eater, Wolf's Reign, and Mob Psycho 100. The showrunner. So this season, I don't think it was any different than other seasons, but they really wanted to make sure that the chief director was Kenji Nagasaki, who gave us such thing as Gundam Build Fighters, My Hero Academia, 2 Heroes, and Heroes Rising. And then the director for the overall season and series, Masahiro Mukai, who gave us such thing as Space Dandy, Hyperdimension Neptunia, and Punchline. The writer is one writer, which is Yosuke Kuroda, who's given us such thing as Trigun,
hell yeah,
Tenchi Muyo, I know Caitlin loves that, and S. Cryad. The cast. Now, I break it down by the characters that are kind of prominent in the season, which is a lot, but I don't do as many shows and stuff like that. So Izuku's played by Daiki Yamashita, worked on such things as Sailor Moon Crystal and Sword Art Online. And the dub was Justin Briner, who's worked on such things as Dr. Stone, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Bakugo is played by Nobuhiko Akamoto, who works on such things as A Certain Magical Index and World Trigger. And then the English dub is Clifford Chapin, who's worked on such things as Evangelion and Black Clover. Kirishima is played by Toshiki Masuda, who's worked on such things as Attack on Titan, The Peach Boy Riverside, and the English dub is Justin Cook, best known from Yu Yu Hakusho as Yusuke Urameshi and Dragon Ball Z as Raditz. Endeavor is played by Tetsu Inada, who's worked on such things as Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, and Jujutsu Kaisen. And then Patrick Seitz plays the English.
Patrick Seitz
plays the English dub, which is who you can hear his voice from Berserk, the Golden Age arc, and Beastars. Mirio is played by Tarusuke and Shingaki, who's been on such things as Ghost in a Shell Arise and Fate Zero, and Rico Fajardo from Fruits Baskets and Red versus Blue. Night Eye is played by Shinjiro Miki from Perfect Blue and Dahex Sign. And the English dub is Brandon McInnes from Cobra Kai. The Karate Kid saga continues. And World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Overhaul is played by Kenjiro Suda from Yu-Gi-Oh! Attack on Titan. And Kellen Goff from Neo, The World Ends With You, and Record of Ragnarok. Eri is played by Seiren Kobayashi, who's worked on such things as Chuzai Keiji and Dr. X, and Emily Neves from Grave of the Fireflies and Dropa. And then Uraraka is played by Ayane Sakura from Promare and Girlfriend, and Lucy Christian is the English dub, who's worked on such things as Gatchaman, the movie, and Vampire Hunter D. The date of this release was October 12th, 2019, and it had a run through till April 2020. And it has 25 episodes. It's the 4th season. Each episode runs about 22 minutes. It's an anime, so they never list the budget. And the Rotten Tomatoes score sits at 100% from critics from 5 reviews and 79 from audience from 72 users. Oh, God.
You can breathe now, buddy.
Yeah. That was a lot of names and a lot of syllables I'm not used to speaking because I'm an American English speaker.
Yeah.
And it was tough. But I tried, and I apologize if I got any of them wrong. Please, in the comments, you can phonetically tell me how to do it right, and I'll try next time.
I feel like I have to shout out Zeno Robinson for Hawks. Just because, that was a very big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Zeno is also great as
And in
Hawks.
season 5, it's a big.
Oh, yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Anyway, so now we go to spoilers. The whole spoiler raid of the episode where we do our favorite characters, favorite parts, and then we'll do our qualms, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
I'll start favorite parts.
So hard.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Man, 100% full cowling.
We have to say that song.
Honestly, the whole
raid.
Really the end of the raid.
Yeah.
Everything that happens I remember as I do the elliptical when we do these kinds of shows. I basically am like, okay, I'm going to put on an episode, do the elliptical, probably do a couple of episodes. And I had to stop for a second and go back, like the whole end of the raid. And then this battle with kaiju overhaul and just full cowling,
all those body parts,
and Eri rewinding him, and while he's basically destroying his body, going full cowling. I just was and the whole sequence of that fight of him destroying Overhaul was just hell yeah.
Shout out to Michaela Phillips, who is the singer of the song. So they play the Might theme, which is the dun, 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 dun. It's whenever a really emotional thing happens. It's pretty much the same music when All Might gives the power to Deku for the first time.
Yeah.
And every time Deku cries, it's the same song. But then she provided an English singing to it and vocals. And to me, so they had a commercial break where they showed Overhaul's quirk and they showed Deku's quirk, and then it jumps off right with Deku jumping off a stone, and he's reaching out for Eri, and right before the commercial break, Eri's I have to trust him. I have to go back to him. And then the music just starts playing, and it's just a piano, and then these vocals, and then when they finally catch and embrace, and then he's I'm never gonna let go of her. And I was just oh my God, my heart broke into a bajillion pieces.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it to me, again, My Hero is just so good at creating emotional context for action that's just Dragon Ball Z is way more intense. Bleach is way more intense. Planets are getting exploded, mountains are getting destroyed, but it's what Mirio and Deku, the guilt that they have of letting Eri go, and then bringing it to this moment. It's if I want to be the best hero, how can I be the best hero if I can't even save one girl?
And that's what I love about this season is it really hits home. There's kind of that overarching theme of My Hero, of that you can be a hero whether you have a quirk or not. And that particular scene, no. Man, when it unfolded and you knew that he got shot and he lost his
Mirio,
quirk. Yeah. I mean,
but
Mirio,
he was still punching and whooping ass.
Yeah, and just he didn't give a shit. He went for it, and he protected her, and Night Eye, at the beginning of the season, I was Whatever.
Night Eye's annoying, gross.
Whatever.
I loved Night Eye.
Night Eye is
so
that
cool.
tracks that you would.
So cool.
Yeah, a
but
lot.
as the season unfolded, it was kind of like oh, I see you.
But then his high density cufflinks were so baller.
Yeah.
Oh, the stamps?
Yeah, the stamps.
Stamps,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh my God, he just like chucked a thing and a guy flew. I was like, oh, this guy got, it's dope. And you're like, oh, of course he was All Might's sidekick. Caitlin, favorite parts?
I think the one that impacted me the most was Aerie trying really hard to figure out how to smile, and just like the severity of her, like her whole life has been so
festival.
terrible. And she finally has that moment where she's like, gets really excited, and you hear her being a real kid for once, where she's like, and then it did this, and then it was over there, and it was like, and it was wow. Like, it was just so sweet.
It was adorable.
It was so
and a lot of
cute.
people give a lot of flack to that festival arc and all that
Why?
stuff. Because it's not fighting, it's not them. It's like, and that happens, we watch a lot of anime. We know that there's always a festival or summer games or whatever the hell.
Well,
the beach or the,
and,
yeah.
and so like it, and I would say like this, it's like it's a harsh contrast, but then to me I loved that arc because, like, to your point, it's kind of like this redemption / like it's the salvation of Aerie's soul in a way where like
there's even a moment right before she smiles where there is this like evil that leaves her body. Like it's like a flash frame of like this purple beast that leaves her body, and I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, and like it's this whole like everyone's trying to work really hard, like, and also like I think it was Eraserhead who says like, you guys have to put a really good show because most of the turmoil the school's gone through is because of your class, and everyone
Don't fuck this up.
and then
Yeah.
I forget her name, but Earjax,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
she's like great.
And when her singing was like,
she's singing.
but okay, let me
Please,
just say a thing
please.
though. When they're singing in a dub,
Mhm.
it can be very bad.
Mhm.
And when that golden light came on, I was like, okay, I'm going to brace for whatever this is going to be. And then I actually got like goosebumps when I heard it. I was like, oh,
yeah.
oh.
I was that whole sequence, because that's on my list of favorite parts. The concert in particular, because it's also like the importance that Deku and Mirio put on just making her smile, even just once, is just so like. And when she did, like it was another moment where I was like.
And the cool thing I love with Mirio and Deku is that Deku is so unsure of himself, and it's like, but again, like the thing that we loved about season 1 through 3 is that Deku wasn't Bakugo. Like we've seen so many animes where the main character is like hot-headed, I'm gonna go in, I'm the strongest there is, and Deku provides this like different aspect of what it means to be a man, a hero, whatever it is, a good person. And Mirio, though, is kind of in a different way, almost a foil, because he's so confident in himself. And he's like, I know.
So confident, so positive.
He knows what he needs to do to be a hero. And like him just being Aries pretty much like guardian the entire time.
He's her like dad.
Yeah.
Like cute young dad.
Yeah.
It made me so happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good. And it's season 5 stuff I'll talk about later.
There's
But,
so much that's wholesome about this season. Like, even though they're facing these horrible things. I mean, Aries, like, what, 6 years old?
She's getting like
And she's
mutilated
getting
daily.
mutilated on the regular,
Yeah.
like literally sucking all the blood out of her and then forcing it to go back in her. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
And they balance it so well with all these like cute, happy moments.
But,
Let's
like,
sing
and
together as friends
And
and
to me,
dance.
like to Josh's point, that first arc really, I guess the first arc is really the more the work study. The second arc is the raid. We had like 2 very dark and intense arcs, especially with Kirishima, which I thought was so cool that he got paired up with Fat Gum. And like his whole thing, he's like, I'm not strong enough. I don't have a cool technique.
This season plays a lot with the reason why it spoke. This season in particular spoke so much to me is that they played a lot in that realm of what self-doubt can do to you, and when you release that and you let that go, what that does to you, and how much like in this there's a literal metaphor. It's not even a metaphor. They literally get more powerful when they're more confident, and I mean like Kirishima, Red Riot, like. I mean, he
Courageous
was
hero, Red
dope
Riot.
AF in this season, and Euro specifically to the music festival and that scene. I just, as a musician myself, it really just spoke to me, and as as an actor, just as a watcher, I was just like, that speaks a lot to me, because it's like in her mind, she's growing up and she's like, I got to choose these things. I'm either a musician or I'm a hero. And having your parents say, you can do anything you want. You can do it all. You can, and like,
you got a whole life to live.
And just that, I've had performances where like that, where you just kind of release the self-doubt and you're just like there and you're in the moment and like watching that unfold. And it's like, no, it's not just a catchy tune. It's like there's an emotional, that whole sequence was like she's releasing that and embracing all of the things that she loves in one place. And you get the airy smile, and you get Mario and Deku's responses to the smile.
Yeah.
And then you get like the other classes that are coming in ready to be like, I hate it. I really like it.
But it's also
I really like it a lot.
It's preceded by Belly Button Sparkle Man.
Aoyama.
Yeah, and how like he also has like, he's like, I know what it's like to not be able to control your thing. What?
Just all of Aoyama leaving like a cheese note on a
like,
balcony.
I know your secret.
I know. And he's like, it was so endearing, was it not?
Be that
like,
friend.
Yeah.
Don't be that friend. That's how you go to jail.
But then,
no, there's a way to leave someone a charcuterie board. That's not it.
but I love
That's not creepy.
And that was the thing that kind of like one thing that caught me by surprise is that they had like post-credit scenes and like how Deku woke up one night and he's like, was that Aoyama outside my window? And it's creepy because they share a wall, right?
Okay,
but like
it's creepy.
But I loved it because it was like, what?
Is he the mole? Is he the spy in the school, right? And then like that's what they're kind of leading you to believe. But like again, it's another opportunity for the showrunners, the writers, to create like a tension to actually have Deku just be like a good person.
Yeah.
Kaylin, more favorite parts?
I really loved. This won't influence my character choices, but I really loved Fat Gum.
Oh, he's so
A
good.
lot.
And then also when he burns it all off.
That moment
It's
came,
so cool.
and I was like, oh no, he's hot. Like, I just love that he's so. I love everything about Fat Gum because he's just like, it doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
what is it?
Also, he's like, hey kid, the best way to fight a villain is to make sure that they lose the will to fight. And he's like, that's the way you win.
That whole season where he and Kirishima are fighting, I forget the
knife guy?
the knife,
The blade body
the
man.
the punching guy, like,
Yeah.
and then like
Brava?
releasing, releasing that power, and like Kirishima's just like breaking off his like.
He's like, ow, this hurts a little. And then he's seeing Fat Gum literally get all of his bones broken. He's like, oh.
Yeah. Come on, man.
But I think
Don't
that's really
compare
cool
yourself to-
too, is just that like you get to like the guy who could go rock hard versus the guy who's so soft.
Yeah.
Right? And then how they work
But
together.
secretly is not.
But well, also I think the softness thing, like it does. I don't think it disilludes the fact that like Fat Gum's power is him being a big boy.
Yeah.
But and like he's
and-
one of the best pro heroes.
And also his personality the entire time is just like,
So supportive.
it's so great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Fat Gum before he got hot.
Mhm.
I was like, this is the best guy.
Is that our
He's
next
gonna
bumper
wanna-
sticker?
I love Fat Gum before he was hot.
Before it was hot.
But it's like, he like always he's like the best person to be around ever. He constantly has snacks. Always.
He like lifts you up. He gives you a snack,
He gives you a pep talk. He gives you
and
snacks.
then he looks good at the end, and you're like,
You're just like the most well-rounded,
literally,
figurative and literal person ever.
yeah.
And he's been fighting drug cartels for the last decade. Like, what? Fat Gum's like a super spy.
Mhm.
What? I'm
Um,
sorry. I had to go off on Fat Gum for a minute because he's just great.
Just also rewinding too. I love
And he cries.
I love Deku trying to get into Night Eye's work work
Oh, that yeah.
whatever it's called work
Gotta make him laugh.
Well, yeah, make him laugh, but also like Mirio's in there, and he's just like, oh yeah, I did the thing, and Deku's he like understanding his quirk of like I could see into the future for your life up to however I choose,
Yeah.
and then he sees as a film reel, but like I love that. To me, that's a great it's more of a setup. It's not a foreshadow. It's more of a setup of like the reason why Night Eye and All Might aren't cool anymore is because he looked into All Might's future, and then how like you were
A
saying,
little too far.
Deku really just kind of subverts that expectation. He's like, he saw Deku's death, but like the sheer will of doing the right thing and then putting your everything into it, like, can change the history. And like Night Eye has a giant spike in his body. He's like, is this what that means? Is that we could change the future? And I'm like, oh shit.
His whole, I mean, going off of that and just like his whole journey on that part, like the later part of the raid and then his demise was another one of my favorites because he's so, I mean, because when you can see into the future in a sense for somebody, a little bit of confidence, I think, can come from that. He's very confident. He's very sure.
But also a little bit of sadness and depression because you tend to be right most of the time, even about the things you don't want to be right about.
So everything he knows is wrong. And then you have this death scene. And like Muriel, all he wants is to be a hero and to have his hero tell him he's gonna be a great hero. Like, you just I'm not crying, you're crying. There's something in my eye. It's weird.
I loved how Night Eye assembled all the heroes to like, we have to talk about the Yakuza, and we're like this guy named Overhaul and how this is going on. There's these weapons that are going out in the streets, and all the heroes are just like, oh, okay. And like some heroes are like, oh, we're only brought in because we're like, we only occupy a certain space, not because we're any good at all. But I just loved like when the raid arc started, it was like, it started feeling like, oh, this is getting like intense. Like we're gonna start doing police raids and shit like that.
Is this a work study?
and oh man, with the start of season 5 too, it starts also getting like really intense. I know, but I was just like, they do that in a good way where like now these kids are growing up and they're joining like the workforce now, and it's like
it's just the first year.
God. Yeah,
This is year 1. This is year 0. They haven't even started yet.
Season 42. Now we're in year 2.
God.
But I do want to mention, because I want to make sure that we don't run out of time, Endeavor and and the higher end Nomus that can talk, and I loved Endeavor's like whole, he's meeting with All Might, being like, what does it mean to be number 1? What does it mean to be, you know, the best hero? And, you know, All Might's like, I don't have that answer. You have to kind of find that out for yourself. And like everyone also like, you know, he's been striving to be number 1, and like
now he has no competition.
Now he has no. It's not the way he wanted to be number 1. He actually wanted to beat him, and you know, he kind of Bakugo's it up where he's like, just watch what I do, and you'll see what kind of hero I am. And then Hawk's telling him like, that's not what people need. People need faith restored into their heroes again, and like, you're not that guy. And then when he has that final fight, and it's like, he's putting it out on the line for this guy. And it's just kind of think like, when we met All Might, he was not at full power. And like he fought a normal Nomu, and it was really hard for him to fight it. And then, you know, he loses all or one for all, fighting all for one. And it's like kind of like, oh my God, this is the thing that happens in anime where it's like, you're just scratching the surface, where it's like, it's going to get much more harder and much more, and everyone's going to get much stronger. And then Endeavor, who's like, okay, this is the guy who's supposed to be number 2, like gives it his all and almost dies trying to fight this thing. I'm like, do you think All Might at that point would have died fighting this Nomu? I kind of feel like it, because All Might can't fly.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just wild.
Yeah.
But I thought that was just like, those 2 episodes, like they did so much in 2 episodes.
I also love how well they give you the importance of All Might being the symbol. You know, Sir Night Eye is a super fan. Deku is a super fan. Basically, everyone's a super fan. And that photographer that came in to like get the picture with Deku.
And his fingers are all in the selfie.
Oh God,
I love that.
But it's just, they did such a good job of being like, no, it's like a lot to be this person, and it's very dangerous. Like the photographer making the choice to not out Deku at that moment was like, oh yeah, he understands that this kid could die before he even has a chance to do anything if he puts out this story.
I also like that it kind of showed a little bit of journalistic integrity. You know, sometimes it's not just about the story; it's about like being this like guardian, this sentry of like truth and justice and a, you know, better world and stuff like that.
And they do a lot of that with pretty much all of their topics. Like everything seems to live in a gray area, and they make that symbol feel like a black and white situation, but everything in that world exists in a gray zone. Because even the Yakuza were like, Chisaki, you have to keep your humanity. We're the Yakuza, but
Yeah,
you
you can't turn into a monster.
You can't turn into a monster. And that's the fucking Yakuza, man. Like,
yeah, there's still honor amongst thieves, and you can't just go out and just like start killing people for no. And then we see the
Gotta
exact.
do it the right way.
You see the exact opposite of that with Shigaraki.
Right.
And what happens to him, and he's like, now you don't even have your arms, and he's just like,
that
I was like, oh, this guy is
that
to me. This is what made Shigaraki cool.
I was like,
because I know
when that
you
happened,
love him.
I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like this big baddie who caused so much trouble is just like
boop,
screaming when we last leave him. Like,
good job on that blood curdling scream, Kellen.
Yeah,
that was horrifying.
Yeah. Oh, adding on to like the importance of a symbol, like Mirio to Amajiki, like Mirio Amajiki with his like taking on anything that he eats, like the powers of
Sun
like
Eater.
Yes,
Oh
Sun
my
Eater's so
God.
good.
Just the
Caitlin, I feel like you'd want that ability a little bit.
I don't know. That's a lot of different things to eat.
the battle where he's basically getting through his self-doubt and he's realizing just how Mirio has believed in him since they were kids and just like the importance of that.
Like he's
and
kind of
just,
the Deku in that situation.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, he's part of the top 3 of that school and he doubts himself so much.
So
And he's
hard.
like, when another scene where when they embrace how powerful they are and how powerful they get, and it's like, he just kicks some ass. Kick some ass.
Oh, so much.
Yeah. But
So
seeing
much.
his power like work for the first time, I was like, oh, this is cool and creepy at the same time. And he ate that other guy's rock and he became part of that. I was like, oh, that's the thing too. It's like they introduce it and then use it like right then and there,
Immediately.
and you're like, wow, so efficient, so efficient.
Yeah. His digestive system is just
it's a superpower.
rocked.
Oh, yeah. He's a goat. He's literally a goat.
But I did like that you mentioned the whole like having a symbol and all that stuff, and everyone's a fanboy for All Might because that's what impresses Night Eye with Deku and not smashing all the posters,
Not touching a single poster.
yeah, and
not
even
a
though he was
single
bouncing around.
footprint.
So he like definitely saw everything he needed to do as fast as he could, and I was like, oh, it's one of those things. I was like,
God, this show just knows how to like. Oh, it's so cool. Oh man, they hit me in the feels.
Is that a
too.
heartstring?
Yeah, they're like pulling it.
playing music to it.
oh my goodness.
I do want to shout out just Gentleman and La Brava. Like I really enjoyed that, and I know a lot of people who may be listening or on the internet just hated that. I really enjoyed it because to me, I really liked Deku having a proper villain.
Well, the thing that I saw mostly on the internet is that people love Gentle, but the placement of him was like, it's like some people were like, oh man, you didn't give me more of the backstory and whatnot. Like he would have been good in earlier seasons, so maybe he would have gotten more.
I liked him here being introduced because if he was introduced earlier, Deku had no control over his quirk. Like
Yeah.
he
At this point, he is now doing air shots and he's using full Cali to jump around. Like he is as good as any Marvel or DC superhero at this point.
Yeah.
And he needs, like in season 3, a proper rival, which is now Bakugo. He needed like a proper rival who is like Mirror Master, who's like very the top, like low impact, but they're honorable in their own way. And I think that's something that I really like that Deku had, is like the reason why Gentleman was so strong to him was that like they both had that indomitable will to do what they felt was right. And Gentle also didn't want to really hurt anyone. He just wanted to like prove that UA needed to up themselves up the same way that Stain said that the hero community needs to step up. And I think this kind of like combat against complacency is like a strong theme that resonates with all these side characters that we only see for like 5 episodes. But it's something that's occurring because, superheroes are celebrities. And I like to always think that, the media is more than just what they're telling me, that there's a subtext underlying. And with Gentlemen being, again, these people who have quirks just like everyone else are somehow villains. But their viewpoints are technically right. They're just taken to the extreme. But again, Gentleman never actually hurt anyone.
Yeah.
His crimes were like, I'm going to rob this place because they have expired food. And it's like,
Expired pudding cups.
yeah. And like, he's all about that tea life, which I don't know if it touched Caitlin at all about that tea life.
I mean, I understand. I don't have a ritual for committing crimes after drinking certain kinds of tea yet.
You need to work
But,
on that. You're gonna need to work on that.
I understand it.
Yeah.
I want some of that gold tips.
Yeah.
One last mention. Class 2's play.
Oh yeah.
Oh
It was like
my
the
God.
Revenge
Star
of the
Trek,
Guardian, whatever.
Shakespeare, Lord of the Rings, had everything.
Shout out to the adaptation writers.
Yeah.
Because not only were the like mouth movements pretty spot on, but even the little tiny like through lines or like things that were disjointed with like kind of a one-off character, because it's very easy to make, side characters not that interesting and not really have much to say. And all of them are so firmly placed in who they are that they're just a good job.
No, yeah.
Good job.
And then that's the thing too. So I watched this in dub, and I always like think of like, man, like, and everyone's like dub snobs whatever crap. I think it's just also just like it's hard to get something that's of that quality so good translated to American English so well, and I'm just like, hats off, hats
reals,
freaking
though.
off.
Good work.
Yeah. So
yeah.
favorite characters.
Yeah. Let's do
Favorite characters
three.
of the season.
Let's do 3.
Okay, 3. Okay, sure. Well, you have,
I mean, there's a lot to choose
Go
from.
first then.
Okay. Okay. Mirio, Lemillion.
Mm-hmm.
I just love his attitude. I want to be more like him. Just believe. He's cool.
Like, and also just a weird thing. It is cool that Deku found out that he was like, oh, he would have been the guy who inherited all
Yeah.
one for all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, of course. And like they look like each other.
Yeah. I found Eri to just be adorable.
Nuri's so cute.
Every time.
Stupid cute.
So cute.
Stupid.
It's
Every time
so
she
cute.
spoke, I was like, "You're
just-
adorable."
She just has that tiny little girl.
little
voice.
Yeah,
person.
it's
She's a little
even like
person.
smaller than that.
Oh, I know.
I was just
She's
like,
teeny.
every time I heard it, I was just so like,
Oh my
I
god.
was like, oh
Oh,
my gosh,
Cute
you're
baby.
adorable. So just,
I was like,
Yeah.
ah!
and I mean, shout out to Deku, but Kirishima,
Kirishima's really good.
Kirishima's really
Kira-
good.
Justin Cook, man.
he's just so good. I mean, his journey through this season and like getting to find out more about so this season was a lot of focus on characters that weren't as focused on.
And Todoroki and Bakugo took a back seat.
Yeah,
Which
so-
I enjoyed because it's like, oh, now we got this trio. We're only going to focus on this trio. That's what happens in Dragon Ball, which is unfortunate, but My Hero doesn't have that symptom.
Yeah. So those are my 3.
Tom.
Number 1, for this season,
Yeah.
Endeavor, because I think he grows, like he gets a crash course in development.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was gonna say leading up to this season, I was like, fuck Endeavor. But this season I was like, oh, he's got some stuff.
Number 2, Overhaul, because holy shit,
Overhaul's pretty.
freaking badass.
Badass.
Badass. And also just like when he's coming out with multiple arms coming out, but then when Deku like punches like a bajillion punches and like each body part just like pop, 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 pop. I was like, oh, it was just like, oh, it's such a good moment. Anyways, so that's cool. And then number 3, it's really hard because I want to pick this guy, but I kind of really want to pick this person. I think
Really telling.
number 3 is going to be I think it's gonna be Hawks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really
Hawks is
sadly
real
my favorite
cool.
2 characters are in the last 2 episodes, but like I really liked like also just seeing his quirk work, and then like oh no shit, he becomes like one of the best heroes because he could save so many people at the same time, and like, oh, it's a feather. Who cares? Oh, the feather carries. Oh, that's a strong ass feather. And then like he uses it on Endeavor, and Endeavor goes flies faster. But like I love the balancing of the character of just like, the more feathers I use, the less I can fly. But then the more feathers I have, the less people I can save, but the faster I can move. And then also like that each
There's so much
like, the
balance that happens
yeah,
with him.
and each feather can be made into a sword. I'm like, God, I'm like, you think this guy with the wings is like, to me, I'm like, that's just dumb. This is flying.
wings.
Initial reaction is like, that's dumb.
Well,
And then
like-
you see it and you're like, oh.
And you're like, I'm like, wow,
comic books could really learn from this show of like
Couldn't
how to make
They just
cool powers and then also balance them
Yes.
very, very well. So yeah, Hawks. And also I really like his attitude is just like, oh, I'm just doing my thing. And I'm
He
just,
literally meets up with Endeavor, invites him to tea, is like, can you please be the number one? I
Like-
want to sit in the 20s. I want to be left alone. He's like saving people left and right while they're just walking down the road. And he's like, please don't put the focus on me. I just want to be left alone so I can do my job.
I really want you to start watching season 5, but Caitlin, you're 3?
Kind of to my surprise, but my favorite from this season was Deku.
Oh.
I think it's because he's starting to come into his own. He is starting to more anyway. Tom is like
Judgment.
No.
judge
It's more like I see where it's gonna go, and it's really intense, and it's like
right.
But again, my heroes are really good of like, okay, this is the world. Oh, I don't know anything about the
No,
world.
no.
Deku
I
for
know
me
he's
is always
got
an asterisk of like he's always my favorite character, but let's
Yeah,
just...
well, but yeah,
Usually he's not for me.
Yeah,
because
but
it's just like, okay, you're doing hero's journey, that's fine.
yeah. But
People
for
have
this
to like
season,
suffer
he
so
really
you can push yourself.
he really
like-
shined for you.
Yeah, he did a lot better this time. And also like that kind of running in headlong spoke to me a little bit more this time. Like I know he did it with Bakugo before, but doing it with Eri when he has Mirio there, that's kind of like when you're at a 4-way stop sign and no one's really sure
They're all looking at
who
each
to
other,
go first.
and everyone does the little toot boop boop, the little move, and then up they stop.
Yeah, right. So this was where Deku was like, no,
I have to go.
I know who has the right of way and it should be this, even though he has Mirio right there being like, don't do this. Shut the fuck up.
And same thing with Night Eye. He's like, no, you're gonna die.
But it ended up being the right choice, and that's probably what helped Eri to like break away.
It ended up probably saving everyone.
Right.
Because if Deku didn't do it, then Overhaul would have just killed everyone.
Right. So that's why I was a little more fond of Deku this season. I think my 2 is Hawks, just because, again, like I'm just gonna be great at everything I do, but we don't have to do this rigmarole. I don't really want to be on the stage right now. Please just let me do my job and be really good at it. Like shh. I want to go to bed. Shh. It's gonna be nap time for me. Shh.
You saw the post-credit scene with that episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Dobby shows up.
I didn't know we were gonna get 3, so Fat Gum.
Okay.
Yes.
Fat Gum was great.
Fat Gum was great.
Nice.
No, I'm not gonna do honorable mentions. I'm not gonna do that stuff.
No, don't do it.
Qualms.
Qualms.
for the season. Who would like to go first?
Not me.
62. Kaylin?
I already know.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel as though they did a good job with it, but Gentle and La Brava's relationship was a little just treading the line.
To your point, yes, I think they did a good job where like you can tell he had no malicious intent.
Right.
But it is that a little bit of that fanboy fantasy of
Yes.
like, oh, if I
this
get
young high school girl is in love with me.
which I guess in a way is a power fantasy.
yes.
Because shonens are power fantasies. This is just a different type of power fantasy because you have will over these little girls.
I feel like if she was just a smidge older but tiny, it would have. I mean, I know they do that a lot in shows where it's like, I'm 5,000 years old and I
Yeah.
look like I'm 12.
That's Impa from Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. There was just a little bit of that just towed the line. I enjoyed their relationship and it felt like they were both of mind and everything. It just treaded the line.
In an unsafe and irresponsible mindset, it goes a wrong way.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Very, very, very quickly. But even the opposite way, where like if a guy who's like, doesn't matter what age, wants to fanaticize about some girl that he sees on the internet, he may think that he has some right to like find them.
Right.
Which is like also not a good thing to
Yeah,
think
she
about.
literally doxed him and
Yeah.
then showed up on his doorstep.
Yeah.
So like, there's bad happening on both sides of that scenario.
The way it comes together is not great, but the relationship that they have, to me, I think is pretty nice.
It's as balanced as it can be for what it is.
Well, I mean, I do love the love power. I was like, that's pretty.
Oh
that's
yeah,
pretty
no, that
dope.
was very cute, great power, just sort of a little weird.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, a little weird. And then the other one is also like,
If you want to be real progressive, it would have been an older woman and a younger man. Hashtag
Would have been the same problem.
Hashtag normalize that instead.
Hashtag same problem.
As long as yeah.
Hashtag not fixed.
Hashtag not fixed. Hashtag still an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a second one that was like that blatant for me. So
You might not. Josh? What 2 you got, baby?
I only really have one.
there you go.
And I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but
late.
I feel like
Way to go, Debbie.
way to go, Debbie. The first part of the season was just a certain feel and a certain thing, a certain like hype.
Let's say
hardcore.
up until what episode?
I think it's episode 12 or 13. It's the mid-season, basically, Night Eye passes and all that kind of stuff. And then we go into the provisional license, music festival, and the Endeavor stuff. I just feel like it's not the content, it's the order of the content that I think was a little like...
Off?
Yeah, because it's like those first few episodes, I was fucking pumped. Up to the raid, it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. And then you're like, I don't give a shit. Like the provisional license, like with the kids, I was like, I was a little bored. Like I was like, cool.
Which, you know what's so fun? I don't know what...
And I hate to say that. Like I'm just like, because I know some people love that.
Yeah, no.
part.
Well, I mean, that's I think is aligned with the rest of the internet. But I don't know where that trope came from of like, in order to prove that you are X, Y, and Z, you're going to be in a room full of kids. Because that happens in a J drama, Japanese drama, called Hanayori Dango. And the same thing happens where these two people compete, and it's like whoever is most liked by these kids wins. And I'm like, why is this? Why is this a thing?
Like, where did this come? Not that I have any problem with it. I'm like, but where did this come from? This is like really interesting.
Children's.
Yeah, really interesting.
The children's.
I'll add on top of that specifically. I think, yeah, to me, if I
just went on too long.
well, if I didn't
where
see
was like,
any Bakugo or Shoto, I wouldn't care. Like if I didn't see them at all, like you could rip those episodes out. It would not have changed the season for me. They are the least impact season. The best thing about those episodes is seeing All Might and Endeavor talk, and then seeing Gang Orca Man.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
Like he's Slamu. It's pretty dope. Slamu is a character from Street Sharks, by the way.
yeah,
I just hope you know.
I know.
So it's pretty badass, and his tie's a tongue.
do you
which is
remember
really dope.
Shamu?
Yeah.
Just Shamu.
I remember Shamu for SeaWorld.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we
That's
know
why
what came
Slamu was a thing.
Yeah.
I think those don't need to be in there. I don't. It literally. What ends up happening to me in that same way is that like, okay, cool, all gas, no filler. Boom, 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 boom. Everyone's going, everyone's getting cool, everyone's getting their signature attacks. And then the festival stuff to me was more like, I missed these other characters because I didn't see them at all in the last 12 episodes. And so for me, like, it doesn't hit that hard that there's less stakes involved. It was more like, I want to see what Ingenium's doing. I want to see what he's up to, like, and how he's just like, everyone, let them go to sleep. And then it's like, and Deku's like, it's actually okay. He's like, well, then good. You know, we can talk about it. I'm like, yeah.
I love Ida.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
like, you
Ida's
know,
cute.
everyone else like is really cool and kind of just like, oh, yeah, I want to hear about all these other people. So like, you know, freaking guy with the tape arms and like, I want to hear about all these guys. So it's like, yeah, I miss these guys. And like, and that's the thing where I'm the dark guy. I never like happy, no stakes stuff. And I love the dark and gritty and everyone's going to die if nothing happens. But like the show has just kind of introduced this good melody of like happy stuff, good stuff, bad stuff, good stuff, bad stuff. This is the reason why we fight. Like, you know, when there's training at school and learning and like whoever can cross the pool the fastest, like those little small impact episodes. But yeah, like I agree where it's like Todoroki and Bakugo didn't need to be in the season at all.
Yeah.
I like that they were there though.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, I grew to like Bakugo, and Todoroki all day. But yeah, they it's so funny to watch like seasons 1 through 3 and to see these characters such a prevalent,
and then not there.
and then like
Abysmal.
Then they're
Yeah,
like
they're just-
sulking
And then
because they're
one's
like,
just
we
doing
can't do
drums.
anything.
yeah, which I loved.
That Bakugo-
Do it,
Do it, I'll kill you.
I love that everybody can play instruments.
Oh, I know. Well,
be nice.
shout out to Ajax. Is that her? I forget her name.
Who?
The ear
Ajax?
Ajax.
I mean,
Ajax.
Eero.
Shout out to her for training everyone in a month how to
Yeah.
pick up an instrument. And I love that also they explained like, the only thing they could master was like an F chord. And I'm like, oh, yeah, look at you.
I do
Yeah.
love that certain people like Deku couldn't do anything, and he
Oh,
really
yeah.
has to just do the stage
Run the
handwork.
rope.
And I'm
he
like,
did learn how to dance a tiny bit.
yeah, which I'm just like, thank God someone's talking about me for once.
Look, I'm as a writer director, like around all these talented people. I'm like, I can't do shit. Like, if like the big heads from Rick and Morty came, show us what you got. I'm like, oh God.
Oh, no.
You all fight Smash Bros? Like I can't do a song, I can't sing, I can't dance. Like, what?
Oh my
and so like I
God.
love that they had that.
And so I'm like, yeah, like that's realistic to me.
Like that completely immersed me.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
a moment that I have to shout out just because of how great it was, and I feel like we don't really see things like this super often, maybe in the media that I've seen, but when Shoto is talking to his dad after that training with children thing, and Endeavor is like trying to put out the olive branch, and he's like, no. And that just doesn't happen. Like so many times it's like, no, you have to forgive. Like if they're gonna ask for your forgiveness, you have to give it because they're trying. It's like, no.
Yeah.
There's such a thing as too little too late. And
Yeah,
you can cut people out of your life if they've done too much harm to you. And like they gotta work harder than the hurt they put in you.
They can't. And again, it's going to quote Malcolm X. Progress is not, you have the knife in my back. Progress is not taking it out a little bit, not taking it out at all, and not taking it completely out. Progress is healing that wound completely.
Right.
That's what progress is. Then we can start
Exactly.
moving forward. It's like, you no longer have to stop being the terrible person. You have to be better than the worst person in the world. Like, you have to counteract that negativity and then do that for everyone else. Like,
Right.
that's what it truly is. And
And that's also like the fact that it's also a part of who Endeavor has to become as the next symbol for it to, they just interlace things so well of there's this individual character that this thing is threaded through, but it's also tied to like their, the overarching story as well.
But I also like that, they set up Endeavor for season 5 to have like, he has imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to lead the hero community. And like now that he's the focus, we as an audience are going to demand that he has to work things out between him and Shoto.
He's got some stuff to work out.
Oh, he's got a lot
Yeah,
to work
and
out.
I love that during the Endeavor fight, like Shoto's watching it on TV. And
Oh, yeah.
everyone's like,
and even
freaking
says
out.
like, I'm
Yeah.
watching right now.
Yeah, he's like, I'm watching.
This is
Endeavor.
basically your first step.
Well, and I really like the aftermath, what happens in season 5 about that, because I think, to your point, it's something that like we as an audience are with Endeavor and we're going to be there and we're going to just start feeling sad for him, but we are not Shoto Todoroki and we were not there for all the terrible things that happened to him in his life. We only
Yep.
know echoes of those things or
Yep.
things that we're allowed to see. So like, I think what they're doing is really smart and it's good and it's complex, not complicated. And so
It really is.
Mhm.
Like, y'all, in real world scenarios, when people are just absolutely horrible to you, it's really hard to keep them out of your life, to keep yourself sane,
It grinds
and
my
then have
gears the way
other
that-
people like
Yeah.
bring them in because they're on the road to recovery. And then they're like, well, no, they're great. It's like, no. You weren't there for the years that I lived through.
is
I think
Caitlin
of it-
talking about me?
I think of it
Tom.
this way when somebody goes, or like you go like, oh, that guy's an asshole. Well, that's just the way that it is. It doesn't make it
No,
okay.
it super doesn't make it fine that they're an asshole. They're like, oh yeah, I mean that's this is how they are. It's like it could not be though.
Yeah, they could choose differently.
Yeah, I
No,
could not be in a good
I
mood.
didn't really think about it like that, but I totally get it because the media really shows like the forgiveness. and
La,
moving
la,
forward.
la.
The second the hand is put out, it's almost like you just slapped me with that hand. I'm
Yeah.
still red, and just
Yeah.
because you
Well,
put it out, I'm supposed to take it.
Forgiveness.
There,
No.
there is a lot of and again, this is where everyone starts being like, well, Tom just being mad about things. Well, there's a lot of research about those kind of like the surviving abuse like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of it stems from early childhood animation. And most of the time it's highly connected to Disney princesses.
Well, I was just
And-
gonna say it's
Wow.
just like the what the media has created of what love looks like.
Yeah.
and what you're supposed to do to
And that's-
achieve love and what it looks like, what a relationship looks like, what a marriage looks like. It's like, if it's not that, then it's not.
Well,
Then it's not right.
they created this like superficial desire to have like quote unquote prince love and a happy family and everyone's treated like royalty. But also it creates this like that love fixes all things. Is like if everyone knows and who's been in a healthy, stable relationship, love's not all that you need. Love is a big part of it, but it doesn't fix everything.
Yeah. And also in the show in general, like being a powerful hero doesn't just mean being powerful.
No.
Like being straightforward and having your fist out ready to fight. Like that's kind of why I enjoyed the kids' provisional license thing, even though it was kind of like, meh, okay. But it was showing that like you can't fight your way through every situation.
Yeah.
Like there's your brute force strength as a hero is useless a lot of times. So it's just
They and I will say this, they do talk about it in season 5.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
So it is smart that they
Tom is like campaigning. This entire episode is Tom campaigning.
Season 5!
Season 5!
Well,
Are
look,
you ready?
So like when we started, we planned this episode.
I'm not current. I'm maybe a couple of episodes behind, but I'm with you.
Yeah. So when
I haven't even started yet. so.
when we said we were going to do season 4, I was like, yeah, we'll do season 4. And then like I
just kept watching.
like I was watching season 4 as it was going, and so it was like
Mm-hmm.
I'd wait every week for a new episode, and then like I stopped because things shut down in 2020, so like it stopped, and then finally the 2 episodes came out. I was like, oh, cool. And then preparing for this episode, I watched the entire season 4 through, and I was like, I wonder where's season 5? 15 episodes.
Oh, wow.
That's like
I got some things to watch.
that's like an
Yay.
evening. So I was like, I'm just gonna watch it.
And one evening,
It was one evening for me, and
20 minutes times 15.
it wasn't. They're not even 20-minute episodes.
Yeah, because
The
you have,
runtime
like,
is 22 minutes
and
overall.
you got 2 minutes of front credits, 2 minutes of back credits.
They are like 18 minutes max, and some of them don't even have like post credit scenes. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
next, oh, next.
That's
Easy.
why I could get through like 2 to 3 episodes while I'm doing the pre-core, because I'm like, you just kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
but
That's 4.5 hours. Still.
an
Even at
evening.
18 minutes.
So I mean, look at it like this: if I get home at 6:30, I start cooking food, and it's ready by 7. And then I queue it up, and then like I eat, and then I don't really move. I leave my plate next to me until like, and I just write and I work on my computer until like 11, and I take my.
Okay,
There's
so
just
you're
two-
multitasking.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm a zombie.
Your brain
I
just
can't.
went low.
Oh
Yeah.
no, and this is
Ow.
shout out to my boys Ian and Charlie. They fucking hate me because I
Excuse me.
multitask almost everything in my life.
Yeah,
Or
that
it's
sounds
like,
right.
oh, I could play a game and watch this at the same time. I could write and watch this at the same time. I can end this at the same time. Like, but also Josh is multitasking too. Like, if you want to be like, today's gonna be a heavy cardio day because I'm watching a shit ton of anime, you could.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's it. I'm just saying. It's not, I'm not like, all right, fucking throw today away just to watch anime. So I'm
well,
just saying.
I'm glad you have the option to do that.
Yeah. I do.
Good for you.
I have enough monitors in my room to accommodate that.
Mm-hmm.
I have like 8 monitors in my room. Anyways,
Yep.
Well, that is our episode on season 4 of My Hero Academia.
wow.
We did the thing. This has been highly anticipated. I know that when we get comments for do this thing, this has come up quite often. So thank you so much for watching if you're on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening if you're on your favorite podcast app. Speaking of, these episodes are available everywhere podcasts are heard, from Apple to Spotify, iHeart. It's everywhere. Podbean. It's on Podbean. Follow us on there. It's on YouTube. All these episodes go to video, so it is there. Our other weekly show, the Nerd On Update, we stream live on Twitch on Sundays at 3 p.m., so do check that out. And like I called out in the front of the show, please check out that Nerd On Nation. It does allow us to grow, upgrade our content.
just
There's
4 quarters, baby. Just 4 quarters.
Everything that we've done, even just over the past 12 months, a lot of upgrades have happened, and it's because of the Nerd On Nation. So we appreciate you all.
We can cover
Really,
so many more episodes if we had more of y'all in the nation,
yeah,
baby.
exactly.
So many more.
We are at 43 members. When we get to 60, the nation will choose a topic for one of our episodes. So head on over there. And also, like I said at the top, do stop by, rate and review. Share it with your friends, your family, all of that stuff. And
I actually have a little shout out for
Do you?
Rory Listens to Comedy. Thank you for your review on Apple Podcasts. Y'all, when you give us a review on like Apple Podcasts, give us a comment on YouTube, it gives you like these warm, fuzzy feelings. Not like Endeavor exploding into a supernova warm, but
when you
like
find
the
a new form.
toasty one. Like a nice, like a warm blanket. Yeah, like when Aries smiles for the first time and you're like crying because you're so filled with joy that other people are filled with joy. That's what it's like for us to get a review. So, you know.
Can you imagine the feeling of finding a new form? Like when Kirishima Red Riot finds his like Red Rocket Destruction.
Red Rocket's a different thing. But
No, anyway.
Thank
you, Tom!
I tend to find my red rocket all the time.
All right,
too.
Josh.
Anyway, God, I wasn't talking or anything. Gotta correct me. Just can you imagine like the exciting part about like a new form? Especially so powerful, like that must
I
feel
would
real good.
imagine, yeah, like that's what it's like to get a review.
Yeah, just like that. And one last, get 20% off and free shipping with the code NERDON at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code NERDON. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. People have been reaching out saying they've been using the code and loving the product. So that's awesome. But that is the episode. Thank you so much for listening. We heart you. You know the drill. As always, nerd on.
Ending broadcast.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going all right?
Today,
Yeah.
I did not shit my pants.
Wow, proud.
You know?
That's a big step, man.
It's kind of hard to not shit your pants when there's just too much magic going on in your pants.
Magic?
Magic.
Like what kind of magic?
Like
Is it
things,
like good magic?
like things appear.
Hard magic?
Soft magic.
Not
More like-
soft magic,
more like-
it's hard magic.
More like wet magic.
Yeah.
This is
So
good content.
You're a water mage?
More like a swamp mage.